Welcome back to the channel. This is kind of a funny angle to start the video, but I think it's good because it kind of shows this. And what this is the high-tech, all-you-need flat lap, and I've had it about a year now. I got it last summer, so I've had it a year. We've polished a ton of stuff. We've done a ton of cabs, polished a lot of rocks, all of that good stuff. I like to take good care of my equipment, and I've been very happy with it. Okay, so if you're not aware of what a flat lap is, inside this housing here we have a motor, and you turn this thing on. Well, it's not plugged in, but you turn it on, and the disc up here, it spins. Water squirts out of that nozzle, and you can go through different grits of disc, right, and shape a rock, take that rock up to a polish. That's how this works. I'm not talking about the machine today. We're talking about the discs. So here's the thing. These discs, right, you have diamond and you have a resin disc. And on their website, they say they're good for 70 plus stones, but that's not a really good way of measuring it, right? Because there's a big difference between a little tiny cabochon and a full rock that's going to take up this whole space. You can't really say 70 plus. So what I'm thinking we're going to do is I have two of the diamond discs. We have the 80 and the 180, and we're going to go take these over to the microscope. We're going to look at them, and we're going to figure out how much life is left in these things after a year of use, how many diamonds are left, if the diamonds are clogged up at all. I try to keep these really clean. I wash my discs with warm water and dish soap, and we're going to be looking at the resin discs as well. We got the 325 and the 1200 disc, so we'll be looking at these two. Obviously, you can see that there's more wear, right, on the 325, simply because you're going to spend more time at your lower grits. As you get higher up in grit, you don't have to spend the same amount of time, at least my experience. So yeah, we'll be able to look and be like, how much life is left in these guys? And theory, I haven't done this yet, but my theory is that some of these, we might be able to actually see some material caught in them, which could be a problem for causing scratches. One thing I've learned with these resin discs is really crumbly stuff does not go well, right? As an example, dang, I should have been more prepared. As an example, a thunder egg, right, with crumbly rhyolite, right? This comes off and gets embedded in this. Now that's just a theory that I have. Let's see if we can see anything when we examine these on the microscope and come to any type of conclusion as to what the heck is going on with these discs. Well, let's head out. Let's go look at the stuff under the microscope. Welcome to the office. Okay, so here's my microscope, right? This is an AmScope microscope. There's a page on the website dedicated to this thing where you can kind of read all about it. Currently rockhounding.com. It should be pretty easy for you to find. So we've got the four discs, right? The 80, 180, 325, and 1200. For a pointer, right, I'm going to be using my pocket knife, so you might see that a little bit in there. Some of the things that I'm looking for in here is how much diamond is left, and is there contamination, and just what has happened over the past year of using these. Because I would say I use them an average amount. I mean, I don't use them in a professional sense in that I'm out there for 8 hours a day grinding away. I did double check. I think I said their website said that they're good for 70 plus. They say 100 to 200 for what it's worth. Well, with that said, let's look at some discs. So here we have the 80 grit pad. Now, all of the photos that I'm going to show you here, these are all at the same magnification level, so that you can kind of have an idea of the scale of some of this stuff. So 80 grit, essentially the way grit is measured you have a screen, and certain size of grit will be big enough and pass through, and others won't. So that's kind of how that works. But we can see here, like right here in the middle where my cursor is, you can see a diamond that has clearly have a nice big flat spot on it, right? There's a number of these here, like flat spots. These are the diamonds that have been working and cutting the material away. And then you have all of this fresh diamond. I mean, this pad's got a long life left in it. The really shiny, reflective stuff here on your screen, that's the epoxy that they bind it down to a metal disc with. So, yeah, I mean, I'm surprised at how much diamond is left. And this is just like randomly looking at the disc. By comparison, now let's look at the 180. So these diamonds are far smaller. And you can see here we have a number of like flat spots in here. So very similar. I mean, the diamond discs show very little wear after a year of use. Not really clogged at all. If we go back to the 80 grit, you can see that we do have a little rock right there. It almost looks like a little garnet and another little garnet. That's going to happen. I mean, I've washed my pads, so there should be very minimal fouling. But yeah, for the most part, they're not clogged up at all. Like, this should be good for a long time to come. Now we get into the first resin disc. Now, this was really interesting for me to look at. It's a little bit of it's a little shiny. So we have these resin fibers that are clearly dyed. This one's dyed brown, actually, even though it looks a little red here. And you can see these little green spots. These are diamonds. That is diamond. So I think this is kind of important to point out because I was under the impression that these were purely resin discs, but there's obviously diamond mixed in with the resin here. To give you kind of an idea of the way something can get polished, if there's different grades of SOS pads, like those like Scotch-Brite pads, and you can get different grades that will produce different finishes when you are scrubbing something. Okay. And similarly, the coarse texture of this resin can, be a different grit. And I use the word grit loosely because grit's like a unit of measurement, essentially, or a way of measuring particulate. So it's a little bit of a misnomer to take a resin-based thing and apply a grit to it. But that's what we're doing here, is what it is. But yeah, kind of interesting. Tons of diamond left in this, way more than what I thought. You can see some of this white binding glue stuff. So yeah, lots of life left in this pad. Now here's the 1200, and here you can really see the fibers because, it's blue and kind of white. I searched around on the pad, and I did find some little pieces of rock that were kind of trapped in it. And there's no diamond here, right? Then you might be noticing that there's no green diamond anywhere. Well, I wasn't really expecting that. I saw the 325 and I was like, oh, is this going to have diamond the whole way up? Perhaps it has some type of diamond dust embedded in the actual resin, but this looks like just purely a resin pad. And, if this was fully clogged up at all, you really would have like material packed into all of these little pockets, and you wouldn't really be able to see down inside here. This little rock that I found stuck in the pad. Now, this could be a problem, of course. This could cause certain levels of streaking, where you're going to be getting curved scratches in your rocks, because this, could have came from an earlier pad. But what I didn't find in this after searching around was any diamond. So I'm not bringing those coarse diamonds up through my pads and producing scratches, which is an excellent sign. So to give you an idea of how, as far as how big this piece of grit is here, we're going to use the tip of my pocket knife, And there you can see, you know, first off, man, my pocket knife looks like it really needs to be sharpened, but very small, very, very, very small. And well, the photos speak for themselves, right? There's plenty of life left in these after using them for a year, which, I mean, not what I was expecting. And now that I can kind of see this, you basically have the whole depth of the pad to be able to work through. Basically, I grind all the way through this thing until you start to hit glue and plastic on the other side. Well, I hope you enjoyed looking at these flat laps with me. In my opinion, it certainly makes the flat lap kind of have a higher value, I guess. You know, these discs, they're not cheap, right? They're not cheap. So to see how long they're lasting, yeah, I don't know. It makes me feel better about buying some maybe additional grits. And you know, if you look at this here, you basically have all of that thickness. I'm not going to want to focus. You pretty much have all of that thickness there to be able to work through. So, so long as you're, you know, using tons of water, like I use way more water than what I think they recommend, and I've had great results with that. So, you know, they talk about just doing a little drip on the lap. I felt like maybe they were loading up a little bit, so then I started using a lot of water, and they're way better, way better. Which, I mean, if you have a system other than the cups that it comes with, there's no problem using a ton of water. Well, yeah, anyways, always fun to break out the microscope, right? Look at some cool stuff. And yeah, you know, I'll put a link down below to High Tech Diamond. You have a discount code there, and you can go check them out. And I think you'll be happy. And we'll leave that one there. I appreciate you coming by, nerding out with me about flat laps and diamonds and microscopes, all that good stuff. Cool. All right. Take care. Thank you so much for watching my entire video. If you like the content that I'm producing here on this channel and you want to support the content even further, you can do so by becoming a channel member by hitting the join button down below. The membership comes with a growing library of exclusive videos and just great other extra content. So just follow the links down below, and I will see you on the next video.